Now you said that roaming millennial has a horseshoe video. Does anyone have the link for the horseshoe video?
Hey boys and girls, I'm Roaming Millennial, and this video is a very special after-school presentation called An SJW's Guide to Growing the Alt-Right, where I'll show all you regressive leftists out there how you can continue growing the white nationalist movement that you claim to hate, yet seem to be doing everything in your power to encourage. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsors over at Natural Hemp Oil. Natural hemp oil sells all sorts of CBD products. And CBD, unlike THC, by the way, is not psychoactive and it isn't going to get you high or anything like that. These products are just botanical supplements that also carry other nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids, vitamins, chlorophyll, and amino acids. Natural hemp oil cultivates their hemp in Europe and it's been grade A certified. They have a ton of different products like flavored drops that come in flavors like strawberry and blueberry, as well as an entire line of personal care items like moisturizer, shaving cleanser, toner, shampoo, and conditioner. And they also carry anti-aging products, treats, and supplements for your pets, authentic oils, and vaping alternatives. They have a veterans program where any veteran who registers and provides proof can get 15% off for life. Plus, they have an awesome points program where 1 point is equal to about 10 cents, which can be accumulated to purchase products in the future. So if you're curious about what CBD can do for you, check out naturalhempoil.com. Link is in the description. But roaming, yes, little Timmy? Don't you disagree with both the
Oh my god, she has responses to herself. Is that the horseshoe video you guys were talking about?
SJWs and the alt-right and view them as just different sides of the same identitarian authoritarian coin? Why, yes, I do. So why would you want to help the SJWs grow the alt-right? That's a fantastic question, you handsome devil. You see, I believe that as long as SJWs exist, groups like the alt-right will be out there in some form or another, existing as a counterbalance and reaction to the mix of anti-whiteness and racial identitarianism for non-white groups that social justice preaches. Therefore, in my opinion anyway, the best way to really tackle the toxic goals of the alt-right, and make no mistake, they are toxic, is by addressing their actually legitimate concerns about the direction the West is heading should we continue down this path of social Marxism, open borders, and resentment toward white people.
Did she just say basically the alt-right is technically correct? That's pretty much what it was.
So with this video, I'm hoping to actually show social justice advocates the consequence.
So, the alt-right believes races and culture should be segregated from each other. SJWs believe race and culture should be segregated from each other. Oh god, I really don't like these simple graphs. They always rely on some sort of obfuscation from the truth and fair representation. There's no agreement between the alt-right and social justice warriors on segregation. They might use the word segregation in different ways, and in a sense, the alt-right wants segregation at the country level. In a sense, social justice warrior wants class segregation. But claiming that these two things are equivalent is essentially taking two very different stances and just wording them in the same way to highlight what is ultimately a fake similarity. There is no real similarity between these two views. Kev us, $5 Canadian. What do you think about different archaic homonym introgressions influence on the evolution of modern populations/races? I do not know much about this. I know that it's a sexy thing lately, like people are saying, oh, some Neanderthals have fucked with some sapiens, and so we're part Neanderthals. Well, when you really think about it, it has to have been the case. It's just that the category Neanderthal is something that we make today, and the category Sapiens is something we made today. But we are, and even when we label species, we know that these species, they are separate today. But we know there has to be a time at which there were some ancestors of one species we know today and some ancestors of another species we know today that might have had access to each other and that might have reproduced. Now, if you take a human, a Homo sapiens and a Neanderthal, and you ask yourself, how long ago could it have been that Neanderthals and Homo sapiens were reproducing together? Well, and it's not so much Neanderthals and Homo sapiens, it's more like the ancestors of Neanderthals and the ancestors of Homo sapiens, because they might have been very different from the what we call the extant versions that we know of today, at least the extant Homo sapiens and the fossilized Neanderthals. Now, if you ask this question for Homo sapiens and Neanderthals, I don't know the numbers, but I guess it could have happened within the last few million years. There could have been reproductive acts between the ancestors of these two groups. Now, if you ask this between the group that now constitutes all living plants and the group that constitutes all living animals, well, they maybe have ancestors that have bred together, but those ancestors would have lived more than 1 billion years ago, and they would have been a unicellular, probably meiotic capable unicellular eukaryotes. So you can always go back in time and say, oh, the ancestors of those fucked the ancestor of those. Yep. That's what keeps happening. It's just that it happens back in time 1 million years or back in time 1 billion years. So I'm not surprised. I'm happy that people are researching this, but I'm not surprised. So is V using personal info against JF while complaining about Cow using info on his pals? Did V use personal info about me? I'm not aware of this. Did V make a video attacking me personally? I did not. I did not hear about this.
Of their ideology and how they're in fact responsible for creating their own worst enemies in the hope that they stop. Oh, that makes sense. Right, and if that doesn't work, then perhaps this will help exacerbate things to the point that the two groups finally take care of each other, thus eliminating identity politics from our modern discourse once and for all. So let's get started. The first thing you should absolutely do as a social justice warrior if you want to grow the alt-right is hate on white people. Now this point almost doesn't need to be mentioned since you social justice...
Okay, I get the idea. So she's saying that essentially she's using all sorts of rhetorical tricks and montage and everything, but the statement is SJWs justify the existence of the alt-right. I don't think that's the case. I think the alt-right exists without SJWs, without left-wing extremism. The alt-right is not a response to ideological movements from blue-haired feminists. You know what's the funniest thing? Something else is a response to this movement, and it's liberalist and centrism. The old anti-SJWs who didn't have material anymore. Those guys are reactionary to the blue-haired feminist. But do you see the alt-right doing that? Do you see the alt-right complaining about SJWs all the time? No. The alt-right is not a response to left-wing extremism, and you do not get rid of the alt-right by getting rid of left-wing extremism. The alt-right is a response to centrism. And in centrism, there are left-wing components, and there are things that the alt-right will critique, but the alt-right is not a reaction to the other side of the political spectrum. It's a reaction to the center of the political spectrum, saying, you're getting some things wrong. Yes.